Chris Brown is taking a monumental L after his apparent guard dog mauled a housekeeper, and now he's got to pay tens of millions of dollars to the woman who was brutalized by his dog. Okay, I look, Chris Brown, all right, great artist, maybe not a great person. We've heard a lot of horrible stories about him, you know, beating up Rihanna, getting in all type of altercations with different people over the years, but this one might just take the cake, and it is going to cost him a pretty penny. So he was recently seen arriving at the courthouse, basically in this $90 million lawsuit, and it was looking like they were looking for a big amount of money. 90 million is actually egregious, but it seems like they ended up getting an award, which was still pretty hefty. Look at him on his way into court, and he seemed like he was in a good mood. Great soundtrack to this clip.
Hey Chris, how do you feel about walking into court today? Hi. Do you think you'll get a fair trial? You know, there's a new jury. Do you think $90 million the housekeeper's asking for is excessive?
Looks like he nodded to that one.
Great, thanks Chris.
Excessive, okay? Now the verdict's in. He's been ordered to pay $13 million to his former housekeeper. Now, this attack took place in 2020. She's been fighting for justice for damn near 6 years at this point, but she has been awarded 13 M's, okay? So let me tell you a little bit of the backstory. So this all went down on December the 12th, 2020, when his housekeeper, Maria Avila, was brutally attacked by Brown's 200-pound Caucasian Shepherd guard dog, Hades. Okay, now originally Chris Breezy was sued by Maria's sister, who actually witnessed the attack because she said that she was traumatized. Okay, now before I get to that, all right, basically, this is somebody giving a bit backstory in the comments. I'm going to read this. It says, if you read the court documents, this is an inaccurate representation, as always, of Chris Brown. A, the dog wasn't his. It was a security guard that worked for him. B, he told housekeeping specifically not to go into the backyard because of the dogs and guard dogs. The dogs are guard dogs protecting the property since he had multiple incidents with people breaking into the home. Yet the housekeeper decided to go into the backyard anyway. C, he stayed with the victim and multiple other people and was instructed by his management to go back into the house and let the folks that work for him handle it. D, 13 million. Wow, I practically had my hand taken off in a dog attack and I only got a couple thousand. So I don't know if that's an inaccurate representation. I guess mauled by his dog and he fled the scene is inaccurate. But this is some more backstory, basically. The initial lawsuit.
Yeah, Charles, this is the description of this is horrific. I mean, what she's saying is she was working there with her sister. Her sister went outside to empty a vacuum that had apparently filled up. And she says she overheard a horrific attack. She goes out there. She says the dog is on top of her sister, tearing her body to shreds, ripping 3 to 4 inches of skin off her arm, biting her leg and face. Chris Brown ends up calling 911. It sounds horrific, and the injuries to the sister sound crazy. But you're right. It's interesting to see the sister suing over the trauma she endured just witnessing this.
Why isn't the victim suing? I don't understand what's going on here.
Well, and maybe she will, but
my speculation is that perhaps Chris Brown handled things with the victim. It is just the sister suing, and maybe he paid the victim in some way or compensated her, but the sister is saying, what about me? I had to witness this. And he might have said, pound sand, and she had to file this lawsuit. That's speculation, but could be what's going on.
So what she's suing for is emotional distress, right?
Correct.
Yes.
The emotional trauma of having sort of witnessed this, and her sister, she said she can't sleep, has anxiety, and so forth.
I'm glad you covered the legal parts. Now let's talk about this dog, because it's I've seen images of them on social media, and I've always thought that it was like photoshopped, and it looks like Chris posted those photos, and I think they must be puppies there. It's a Caucasian Shepherd of Archnick or something like that.
Of Charka is what it's written as. Yeah.
I've never heard this dog before. I've never heard of it.
So here's the thing, okay? They said in that clip that he called 911, but then it was reported that he didn't, okay? So this is TMZ's later article. This is where Maria Avila filed her own lawsuit, adding the allegation that Chris Brown didn't call 911. It said, Chris Brown sued, your dog's mauled me to shreds and you tried to cover it up. So Chris Brown's dog viciously mauled a woman on his property. Then he attempted to cover it up when 911 was called, at least according to the former housekeeper who's suing him. The housekeeper, suing as a Jane Doe, claims that Chris is responsible for injuries she suffered. So this is the woman herself. They were talking on TMZ about, oh, maybe he handled it. Well, maybe not. Okay, because this is him getting sued. Claimed that he's responsible for the mauling that happened back in December when she was working at his Tarzana home. In the docs obtained by TMZ, the woman said she was emptying trash somewhere outside when out of nowhere, the massive dog appeared and began tearing into her skin, ripping chunks of flesh off her face, arms, and body, and leaving her a bloody mess. Sounds awful, to be honest, okay? So her sister did the separate lawsuit a few months before this. The alleged victim claims that even though Chris and co were home, no one came to help her, despite her screaming for help. She alleges that once the attack was over, she was literally lying in a pool of her own blood. When Chris came upon her, he started directing his team to snatch up the dogs and scram before the cops and paramedics came. Eventually, she says the 911 cavalry showed up and rushed her off in an ambulance. She claims later the authorities attempted to get to the bottom of what happened, but Chris was evasive and misleading, allegedly telling cops he didn't know what happened or what took the dogs, or who took the dogs, sorry. In the suit, he claims that Hades was euthanized weeks later by the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office animal shelter after finding the dog to be dangerous. That is too right. If the dog's mauling, biting people's faces off, that dog needs to be in a pack. It's unclear why the dog was even in Humboldt and North California County, several hours away from Chris's home. That is weird that the dog was taken all the way up there. Okay, this is him shrugging, basically, apparently. I don't know if that was the exact scene. The anonymous housekeeper said she had to undergo extensive surgery to save her life, and the injuries have permanently scarred her. It sounds awful. The husband already suing for loss of the ability to have the love and companionship of his wife. She's suing for major damages. It sounds like she deserves all of that money, to be honest with you. So it would be that month that Chris Brown's dog Hades was actually found running wild in Northern California. So apparently the dog was put on the loose, and that's when it was turned into a pack. Okay, let me get this article working for y'all real quick. Here it is. So yeah, basically this dog was an absolute terror. It had to go. Aggressive dog allegedly owned by Chris Brown found loose in Humboldt County, euthanized on Christmas Eve after serious biting incident in Singer's home. That dog had to go. We got to smoke on that dog. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, all the dog lovers, but we had to smoke that dog. December 18th of last year, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office picked up an aggressive dog wandering on a property in Thomas Road in Miranda. So this despicable dog that bit a woman's face off, they just let it go onto the loose. This is disgraceful. Chris, I don't know who's responsible, if it was Chris or if it was someone else, but somebody needs to be held accountable. Now I'm starting to think $13 million ain't even enough. So it says the HCSO traced the Caucasian Shepherd's microchip back to a home in Tarzana and was later told by Animal Control Officer Angela Hooks with the city of Los Angeles the dog Hades was linked to a serious biting incident that occurred only 6 days prior. So less than a week after that dog had bitten someone's face off, it was just out here on the loose. I don't know. Chris Brown might need some jail time at this point if we find out you're responsible. Officer Hook said it's an extremely high-profile case as the other owner is a celebrity and the injuries were extensive. 80 stitches in the face and arms. Wow. That dog had to go. We're smoking that dog for sure. Okay, that is insane. So let's got more information about it. It said, according to HCSO, the dog was traced back to an unspecified property on Citrus Ridge Drive in Tarzana, same street where the attack occurred. Where Chris Brown held a public yard sale in 2019. I was about to say, oh, we don't want to let people know where he's at. Well, he held a public yard sale. So people don't know how the dog made it from LA to Humboldt County, but the dog was smoked due to its aggressive behavior on the day before Christmas, just 12 days after the attack. Okay. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know, man. At least someone's getting punished for Chris Brown's crimes, all right? Maybe they should euthanize. Anyway, Shannon Miranda, owner and founder of Miranda's Rescue and Animal Shelter in Fortuna, told the Outpost that although he would have liked the chance to modify the dog's behavior, he understands why the HCSO opted to put the dog down. They modified that dog's behavior, all right? That dog behaving like a gust of wind now, all right? In the air. He no longer. Caucasian Shepherds are bred to keep wolves, bears, and mountain lions away, so a human is nothing to a dog like that. Well, that dog was nothing to an incinerator, unfortunately. But for my own knowledge, I'd like to have seen the dog and seen if I could have done something for him. You don't fix, you modify that behavior, but the dog would always still have the potential to attack. Not anymore. Okay, maybe an asthma attack if someone breathes in the dust that dog was turned into. But it said Miranda added that owning a dog is a serious responsibility and that proper training is critical in preventing these type of attacks. Chris Brown too busy popping and locking to worry about what his dog's doing, isn't it? I find it very tragic, he said. It's horrible for the person who got attacked. I feel bad for the dog. If people are going to have these breeds, start socializing them and make sure your dogs go through training because training is key to having any dogs, especially these high drive breeds. All right? That's crazy that the dog was just out here running around after all of that in just with free will. So on June the 16th, 2026, okay, 2 days after the trial started, all right, the trial was immediately declared a mistrial, and a lot of people thought that it was completely over. It says Chris Brown's $90 million lawsuit ended in a mistrial. So it said the $90 million lawsuit against Chris Brown has been declared a mistrial. The 37-year-old singer was set to take the stand in the case brought against him by his housekeeper who alleged one of Brown's dogs mauled her sister in 2020. The trial began its second day of proceedings on June the 16th, when Judge Huey P. Cotton excused the courtroom, citing juror misconduct. They definitely was getting... they possibly were getting starstruck over Chris Brown. It said, unfortunately, one of the jurors violated my admonitions against searching the internet for information, and not only that, he also shared it. As a consequence, I've declared a mistrial. The lawyers were ordered to begin selecting a new jury from a pool already present in the building. All right. And then Chris Brown was basically seen walking out of the courtroom after the initial mistrial, and he was thinking he did something.
Hey, Chris, can you tell us what happened in there?
I like your outfit. It's nice.
He's smiling. He's smiling. He complimented the outfit. He's not smiling now, though, is he?
Too.
Thank you.
I see you're walking out feeling... How are you feeling about it? Because it was a mistrial.
Man, it happens.
Do you feel like this is a cash grab situation? I mean, she's asking for like $90 million.
Man, it's crazy. God bless everybody, though.
I mean, can you tell us what transpired that night or anything?
No disrespect, I ain't really done interviews, but love your outfit again.
Oh, thank you.
I hope you have a wonderful night.
Okay, is there anything you can tell the fans?
Yeah, get ready for that tour.
Oh, I love it. All right, well, thanks so much, Chris.
God bless y'all.
Thank you.
So he'll talkative now that you think you're getting a mistrial, but what's hilarious is he's going to need that tour because he needs to rack up an extra $13,000, okay? Now, he apparently did testify at the trial. Once the trial resumed, Chris Brown did take the stand, and here were the full details about what went down there. Okay, he testified, he said it was a lot of blood, right? That probably didn't help. He said he was in shock. Well, you're the one allegedly responsible for this. So Chris Brown testified Thursday he was in shock when he discovered a housekeeper lying face down outside of his LA home, severely injured after being mauled by a massive security dog on his property 5 years ago. Taking the stand Thursday as the first witness at a civil trial in Van Nuys, California, Brown acknowledged some responsibility for Maria Avila's injuries that day, but denied owning the Central Asian ovcharka named Hades that attacked her. The singer claimed the rare breed has been purchased by his security team over nearly 3 hours of testimony. Brown defended his decision not to personally call 911, not to render aid to Avila as she bled on his walkway, and to leave the scene before paramedics and police arrived. That's not a good look, is it? Brown, 37, said he was about to take a shower when he heard Hades growling and rushed downstairs to investigate. He claims that he saw Avila on the ground not moving and secured the dog in a kennel as he yelled to the guard to get the F over here. He told jurors he bent down and got about a foot away from Avila to confirm she was still breathing. When she rolled over a short time later moaning, he saw fresh blood on the concrete, on her arm, on her face. And when Avila's lawyer, Lancey Dumanian, asked Brown to describe the open lacerations on Avila's face, this is horrible. The singer pointed to his forehead and traced a finger down his nose to under his eye. It was cut like severed. He said, I know it's graphic, but you could see the skin. It was kind of raised. You could see the cut and the blood coming out. He said he never made physical contact with her at any time. Why would he even get up there and say all of this? Because this is ridiculous. Like, he's telling on himself. It was a lot of blood, he admitted under questioning by Michael Murphy Jr., the lawyer representing Avila's sister, a fellow housekeeper who was with her that day and has her own claim against Brown. The blood kind of freaked me out a little bit, he said when it was his own lawyer's turn to ask questions. Brown said it was true he didn't call 911 himself because he didn't want the recording to get leaked and create a media circus. That's why this guy is a disgusting piece of shit. He's more worried about his voice getting leaked and creating a media circus than doing the right thing and calling for this woman. Fuck him. All right, that's what I'm getting for this. He also confirmed he never asked his security to preserve the home surveillance video from the incident. He claimed it was his manager's suggestion that he leave the house before the first responders arrived. He wanted to make sure she was taken care of and get me away from the public. Oh, I'm so worried about the publicity. What about this woman's face, you fucking asshole? What would have been the problem with you being there and waiting for paramedics to get there with a woman bleeding your driveway? Why would that be a problem for you as a celebrity? Dominion asked, incredulous. Because of how my image is and how it's always used. I didn't want a misleading story or like a circus from my status. It's pretty sticky when it comes to that. So me staying out the way was advised. You're an asshole. You're a douchebag, right? I was gonna just not talk about it, but like, you know, he put the beats on Rihanna. Everyone kind of forgave him for that after a certain point of time. But this guy's an asshole, all right? This guy does not treat people right. And he's more worried about his image. Now the image is you're an asshole that basically ran away when a woman got her face bitten off by your dog. Didn't you think your reputation would take a bigger hit if you fled the scene, Dominion pressed? Brown said he didn't flee, but he agreed he spent a couple hours driving around and stopping at a gas station before he was advised it was clear to come home. So it's not like he had somewhere to be. He went and did circles and spun around the block. What a douchebag. Did you put your hand under her head? Did you put a towel under her head or a sweater under her head? Anything like that? Did he ever offer to get her some water? He said, nah, never touched her. I was in shock. He wasn't in shock enough to jump behind the whip. What one of your luxury cars did you spin the block in for several hours? What did you get up to? Spinning around the block. During jury selection process included a mistrial ruling involving an initial panel that had to be excused and replaced due to juror misconduct. Brown's lawyer said in court that his client agreed that Avila was owed some amount of damages from the singer, but the lawyer said the case would come to a difference of opinion of how much. Yeah, not 90 million, but 13 million. I'm not going to lie, sounds about right. Sounds a bit low. Brown claimed on the stand Thursday that he had warned Avila and her sister not to go out without asking him first. He claimed that he told the women in English that the dogs weren't friendly. Domanian said that the women were Spanish speakers, so if the conversation took place, which the women deny, they would not have understood him anyway. He claimed that they said, okay. Oh boy. In her lawsuit, Avila says the large dog appeared out of nowhere and started tearing flesh and even bone from her face. Oh, this is horrible. From her face and her arm as she screamed in terror and called for help. She claims that Brown came outside and stood over her while talking on his phone, then fled the scene. Don't tell me he was on the phone the whole time. She lay bleeding in the driveway, and it wasn't to the police. Who was he talking to? Not the police. So she needed emergency surgery and now suffers permanent disfigurement, nerve damage, and vision loss. 13 mil is low. It attacked me on my face and my hand. It pierced its teeth on my foot, she said in an October 2023 deposition. I didn't see it. I simply felt it. It was something really big. Avila didn't see Brown take the dog away. She said, I only heard the car that left. So all she heard was driving away into the distance. The judge hearing the trial previously granted Brown's request to bar question about his 2009 felony assault of his ex-girlfriend Rihanna. Oh, isn't that nice? During jury selection on Monday, several prospective jurors said they couldn't be unbiased because they know about his history of domestic violence. The judge says that history was not relevant to the dog mauling trial, but he dismissed the jurors anyway. Okay, that is crazy. That is crazy. So, Chris Brown has been ordered to pay $13 million to the alleged victim and basically a $13 million to the victim, her sister, and the husband. So this is the detail. He was ordered to pay $13 million to the housekeeper, Mauled. So it says he has to dish out a pretty penny following the 2-week trial regarding the 2020 incident. So the jury ruled the singer was liable for $13 million total, I guess, for his 200-pound dog that attacked her. According to Michael C. Murphy Jr., an attorney representing the victim's sister, Patricia Avila, Brown and his company, Black Pyramid LLC, I remember Black Pyramid, the clothing, isn't that a clothing brand? They must pay $12.9 million to Maria for negligence per billboard. Murphy also told the publication that Brown and his company must pay Patricia, who was also working when the mauling occurred, $885,000 for emotional distress, and Maria's husband Oscar Olivio, $50,000. Good. Deserved. Okay. Absolutely deserved. So following the verdict, people on Reddit have been reacting to the news. Obviously, Chris Brown is an asshole. We're not really surprised, all right? But look at him. It's a bad day for him. 13 mil deserved. Now you know why he's been touring nonstop. Go check out the Chris Brown subreddit. It's truly insane. You said it was insane. I had no reason to doubt you. Somehow I wasn't prepared. Any ounce of criticism gets deleted within seconds. They're trying to cover for him. The dude called his manager first and got someone else to call the ambulance. He was more focused on his own issues than helping an innocent person. Disgusting. Didn't realize he had a subreddit. Somebody in there's the biggest Chris Brown stan. We're just not even going to give any credence to his stupid subreddit or his dumb supporters. He's a jerk. Bro has the oblivious people you went to high school with his demographic locked down. Oblivious people you went to high school with demographic lockdown. Nothing will stop people from bumping his music. Not just oblivious. If people receive information that triggers cognitive dissonance, it often actually increases their beliefs rather than dispelling them. That's one of the many reasons there are so many people cheering for evil in the world, because admitting they were ever wrong hurts them too much. Not surprising at all. I remember hearing Steve-O talking about living near Chris Brown and saying there was always crazy stuff going on at his house, like pit bulls running around acting aggressive. I don't remember every detail, but yeah. That I don't want to bring attention to that next bit. Still crazy this asshole has that many fans. His music's not even good. I will admit his music's good, but he is a jerk off. So this is Pop Culture Chat. All right. Was that the dog? For those wondering what a 200-pound Caucasian Shepherd looks like, not surprised she was awarded so much. I'm an extreme dog person. I'd be terrified. That's fucking insane. That's not a dog. That's a grizzly bear. 200-pound dog. Insanity. Okay. Good. He's a piece of shit. I was a stripper for a decade and I worked with a woman who would play My Flow So Tight on stage at least once a week. Nearly the whole time I worked there, the chorus is Chris Brown should get his ass kicked. What a banger. All right. Anyone who gives this piece of trash money is a piece of trash. I'm going to wrap it up there, okay? Fuck Chris Brown. There you go. End of video.